Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 901 for the 12th of August, or I call this the SITREP or the situation report. And so a lot of things happened over the past 24 hours. As usual, because of the KURSK offensive, everything is cursed now, super cursed, and so we will have to go through the information step by step. I haven't published. I've published the Frontline changes report, so for those that haven't watched it, do watch it. YouTube is pretty being pretty nice to me. They are pushing the video, so that's good. But the KURSK offensive dedicated update is not out yet. I haven't recorded it yet. So I will cover the general situation over in the KURSK offensive situation, but I will not go into massive details. If not, this situation report is going to be bloated. So then I will probably go into details in a KURSK update, talking about all the changes within a single day. The pro-Russian sources, there is the main source that has been covering all this situation is contradicting themselves and invalidating their own statements from one report to another report, because the situation is so confusing that they don't even know what the hell is happening. So I already got digested everything, so I probably have a better idea of what's happening. So anyway, first thing first is there's a video of Iskander striking a Sukhoi 27 that is still at the airbase over at Miory. So this at Miory, there is an airbase, so Sukhoi 27 got struck while on the ground by a long-range tactical ballistic missile. Sukhoi 27 is rumored to be operating in the Sumi region, so the Ukrainian aircraft could be participating somewhat in the operations in the Sumi region, but it's not guaranteed. It's just rumors that I've seen. So yeah, so maybe that's how they managed to discover where the airplane landed. So anyway, that's all from this strategic side. Over in the Belgorod, Belgorod, KURSK offensive situation. The KURSK offensive situation, as you can see in the mapping, there is new tentacles, new yellow spots, and everything is yellow. So which means that the Ukrainians have made advances. So we're going to go from sector to sector. So over at this western sector, the Ukrainian forces have went around Kherson. The Ukraine has been trying to attack Kherson, and it doesn't seem to work out for them. The Russian forces defending this area is too strong. They are now trying to get back Snagos, but similarly, so far no success. So the Russian line around this on the western flank seems to be pretty solid. So the Ukrainians actually went around and attacked Topino. So we first have the report of fighting near Topino from the Russian Defense Ministry, and based on the Russian mapping, they seem to suggest that the Ukrainians actually went around Kherson and attacked Topino. So this is how they managed to get there. So which is very interesting. There's also fighting being reported at Ogovka, according to the Russian information, which means that there is some kind of Russian line around here. So there is geolocation of Russian forces destroying an MRAP over at Kremyannoe. I think it's called Kremyannoe. So Kremyannoe, correct. And so the Russian forces definitely have a firm control over Kremyannoe. And so this part the Ukrainians try to attack, and so far no success in this region here. And so this is the western sector. The Russians' lines around here seems to be pretty clear. The Russians are defending at Topino, so maybe this is the line we are looking at. This weird shape, and the Ukrainians do not have the success that it seems to have in all the other sectors at this area here. And we move further north. Should I just move it north? Yeah, I think I just leave it, just not have it, because it's going to get very confusing for you guys. So we have to be careful. So as mentioned, Kremlin, the Ukrainian vehicle actually tried to storm into the village and then got somewhat ambushed and destroyed. So, but the forest around here, who knows? There might be Ukrainian infantries around here. So that the Russians definitely will not dare to get out of the settlement. they're going to hold the positions at this settlement, because going out is dangerous, because the entire countryside is swarming with Ukrainian forces. Nobody knows where exactly they are, except for the drone operators, which they promptly ordered strikes on these Ukrainian positions. So no, but infantry on the ground going out is dangerous. So I'm quite sure they're gonna stay there. And given that the Ukrainians managed to drive in, so which is why I draw the front line in this way. So we move up to the northern sector. Is one hell of a calamity around here. So first thing first, the Ukrainian forces is reportedly to be attacking Obishki Kolodes. This is also same thing as the one over at Topino. The Russian Defense Ministry first talked about this, and then Ryba seems to suggest that there's some kind of way to get there. So the most likely is the Ukrainians going through the countryside, going through the countryside and try to reach Obishki Kolodes. And I think this is a pretty decent tactic, to try to keep the Russians guessing, because without taking certain settlements then suddenly appear in the rear position is definitely very very not tipsy, very I forgot what's the word for not taking drugs, but no, don't take drugs, it's bad for your health, except unless you are sick and then the doctor give you prescriptions, then those kind of drug you can take. So anyway, so whatever it is, the Russian forces are holding this position. The Ukrainians did not capture it, and so the Ukrainian forces are attacking Zurafli, and so the Russians maybe have some kind of line around here, and they are also attacking this in the area of Triptokovka as well as towards Kauchuk. Kauchuk, definitely the Russians are there. This because we already have reports of fighting at Kauchuk was previously already once, and the Russians may be holding Triptokovka. And as you can see, the Russian forces, if they are being assigned to defend certain settlements, they definitely stay in the settlement. And this is allowing the Ukrainians to just go around it. So very, very interesting battle. We have never seen such an operation in the entirety of the Ukraine war. So it's very, very interesting that we are now seeing this play out. We always talk about maneuver warfare. This is as maneuverable as it goes. So the maneuverability of the Ukrainian forces is impressive. But of course, the question always comes back to whether the logistic can handle it. Do they have enough fuel? Are they able to refill? Are they able to get food, get ammunition up? That's another question altogether. So talking about that, over on the other side of this, the northern flank, the Ukrainian forces allegedly is now gathering a force. They are concentrating their forces around this area at Otrenoye, Shiponivkovo, Semenovka, and Lefshimka. And according to the Russian information, they say that this gathering of forces concentration is probably preparing for the next phase of battle, as the Ukrainians want to push forward. So this could be the forward operating position, or the for them to then push later. So they are probably refilling, rearming, briefing, and everything. So, and this is a pretty big, huge area. We're talking about like 4 or 5 kilometers, from tail to head to tail. So this is a pretty big area that they are hiding around, and from this area, let's say they go for another 20-30 kilometers offensive. Let's see how far they can go. From the furthest point, 20-30 kilometers, yeah, they could actually go to Lgov. So that could make a lot of sense, heading down this road towards Lgov. And clearly, they're not going to use the road. They're going to go through the countryside again. So I would imagine them going in this way, storming across. They maybe will go around all these so-called nameless place. We'll probably go and do this kind of weird stuff and get the Russians more confused. And who knows, as they wonder, they reach, hey, it's the nuclear power plant. And then it's like, they can exchange this cursed nuclear power plant with the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant, which clearly, there's dreaming. It's not going to happen. Anyway, in the area around here, the Russian forces the Ukrainian forces not just is fighting at Kauchuk and Shiptokovka, which I already mentioned. There's also reports of them fighting in the area of Kromsky Biki as well as Durovo Bobrik. Information coming from the Russian sources as well. For those that are wondering, especially you guys who are supporting Ukraine, Why I'm always saying Russian? Because the Ukrainians are not reporting. That's the only reason. The Russians are reporting the situation because the Ukrainians believe that they need to keep quiet because of operational secrecy, which is yeah, a bunch of nonsense. So the reason I tell you why, there is no reason open source intelligence will have any more information than a proper military with full intelligence capability, from satellite to drones to human intelligence to soldiers to electronic warfare, radar system. That there is no way any open source intelligence, any mere humans like me, you will be able to know more than the military. Yeah. So yeah, that is what it is. So no, all this do not share. All these things. Unless you're living in this area here, then you have first-hand information. Otherwise, if you are getting from third-hand information, usually you don't know what the hell is happening. But Deep State UA, the pro-Ukrainian mapper, does definitely have his concern because they have direct contact with soldiers on the ground. So they probably and they also work with the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. So they have information, and they have to keep the information. But generally speaking, wherever the Ukrainians go, eventually they get caught by drones. There was some information come up from the Russian side. So all this reservation is a bit weird. The Ukrainian mapping, until now, they only reached day 2 of the operation. We're now around day 7, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, it's almost pointless to look at the Ukrainian mapping. So all the information is Russian, but a lot of fog of war. So I try to explain what the hell is happening, and other than that, if the mapping now looks a bit confusing. The Russian forces have forces over Krelenkoe, and this is now sort of encircled by the Ukrainian forces. However, all this Ukrainian territory is pretty much a gray zone as well. At the same time, despite I kind of draw it like it's a firm firm front line, it's also not exactly firm because they are just driving everywhere and they have overrun all these positions, but they don't put troops to defend all these positions. So theoretically speaking, the Russians could potentially just drive all the way down to Kruglenkoe and to hand over their Uber Eats or their Grab food, because they ordered something, because he's hungry, you see. So potentially that could be done. So take the mapping with a pinch of salt. Take the front line with a pinch of salt, because this is not a rigid front line yet. As far as the mapping goes, you can just imagine it as the Ukrainians has been here, and then the Russians are not there. That's all. The Ukrainians are here and the Russians are not here. So some people also argued about, it's only 10 men, but maybe the 10 men go into a village and then I call it capture. But if there is 10 men going to the village and there's no Russian soldiers there, it's still a capture. You get my logic, So yeah, because the Russians are not there. So that is what it is. Anyway, we go further. This is, what should I call this? So this is south. Let's say this is called the western flank. Let's call this the western flank. Sorry, eastern flank. So at the eastern flank, this flank is the road leading all the way to KURSK. It will go all the way to KURSK. At this area here, the Ukrainian forces have just started some kind of new operation. They are heading down the highway, and they got engaged by Russian forces over at Bolshoi Kodatskoye. There is also information about Russian forces over in Novosonitsky. I need to zoom in to show you. Novosonitsky and Berdin. So this, according to the Russian sources, they say that they are very confident that there is Russian forces around here. And the Ukrainian forces is allegedly fighting over at Roskoye Poreshnoye, and the Ukrainians has captured Kositsa, and so the Russians are definitely around here as well. So the front line could look a bit like this, and I'm not sure about Povomaiskaya. I'm not too sure about that. So the Ukrainian forces may be attacking Bolshoi Sodatskoye, but they may be bypassing with another force, while the first force, the vanguard, will engage the Russian forces. The rest will just drive past and continue on. That could be a possibility. So we might see some weird reports later So far, I do not know anything yet. So this is as far as we know. The Ukrainian forces are still attacking Martinovka. The Russians still hold it. However, the Ukrainians managed to capture Mihailovka, just south of this position. So this is the situation around this sector. And so it's mainly about the Ukrainians starting a new operation, going towards the Kursk direction. Basically the Russians have some front lines around here, some position, defensive position. So we will see how they manage. However, it seems very stuck that the Russians don't have enough troops, because while the Russians have taken Martinovka, allegedly, which means that they can kind of guard this road. The Ukrainians can just drive around. And because of the geolocation of the Ukrainian forces around here, it seems that they have sent forces down to Mykolovka as well and managed to capture this position. There is also some footages or photos coming out from Martinovka of dead Ukrainian soldiers. So the fighting here might not have been went very well for the Ukrainian soldiers that was on the ground, because so far the fighting has been very advantageous for the Ukrainians when they are on the move. But it seems like on the ground is a bit more dangerous, because the Russian forces so far defending all these different settlements are all special forces. It seems to me that the regular Russian army is not here yet. The Russians are purely deploying drones and air force and artillery to fight the Ukrainian incursion. And then the special forces are there, in various locations. It seems to be the case. The regular army is still not here. So my estimation is wrong. I thought that they will be operating within 3 to 5 days. We are now like 1 week in, and they are not here yet. So the Russians may be trying something different, or they're just incompetent. See, whatever it is. At the Sudzha sector, the Ukrainian forces have captured the huge amount of grounds around here, with forces being reported over at Makovka, and this is mapped by the Russian side. And however, there is the Russian troops reported at Dmitriokov as well as Agronome. There is, however, the report also goes very weird. They say that the Ukrainian infantry was noted in Bodarevka. However, based on their mapping, this is under Russian control. So this is a question mark. How come there is troops that were there? So the front line here is clearly still very, very complicated. And from what I feel, the Ukrainians could easily just went south, go around, and and encircle, and then break through, and then just cut and destroy, divide and destroy. So the Russian troops clearly is not in sufficient numbers in this area here, because they are purely special forces, first reactions, the Wagner forces, the Akhmat special force. So all these are very limited. Anyway, the Wagner is referring to the former Wagner soldiers fighting in all these special forces. So there is a lot of limitations that comes to this. I think, am I going too deep into the situation? Anyway, yeah. So anyway, this is the situation in that area. We go over into the eastern flank. At the eastern flank, the Ukrainian forces, after appearing over at Ivanovsky and Balaya, the real push seems to be over in Giri. The Ukrainians seems to be pushing seriously over this area here, and multiple geolocation of Ukrainian forces at Giri has appeared online. But of course, it's not in a good way, because every time there's geolocation, someone dies. So the multiple geolocations means multiple Ukrainian vehicles got struck. However, doesn't matter. They still managed to capture Giri tentatively, but all these various geolocations just shows that Ukrainians have suffered quite a number of casualties and vehicles getting destroyed in Giri. Fighting was also reported at Kamishnoye, Spalnoye, as well as Borki. The Russian forces are defending Borki. However, based on the information, the Ukrainian forces have managed to capture Spalnoye, and nothing is known about Krupets. And Ukrainians may not even be at Balaya and Ivanovsky anymore, because this seems to be a diversion. So the Ukrainian forces appeared here. So clearly this will attract attention to this area here, and then they will break through from another area, especially through the countryside, which is seems to be the favored way of moving right now. And also, this seems to be the situation right now over at this sector of the Kursk front. And we're moving out. Russian Defense Ministry reported shelling over at Zaporizhia as well as Mariupol. So this could mean that there's still Ukrainian reserve operating around these positions. So we will definitely see maybe more Ukrainian reinforcement going into the front line to help to secure the front line. That is a high possibility. So I think that's it from the Kursk front. There is evacuation of population being reported by the Russian government of the Krasnoyarovsky region, which is the Krasnaya Yaruga region. This region here, they are now evacuating the civilians because the Ukrainians was attacking Kolotilovka, and there was geolocation of this fighting. So an armored vehicle was destroyed at a minefield. They didn't manage to break through. The attack has failed. The Russian border guards are still here. So maybe the Ukrainians are actually trying to take advantage. They maybe thought that all the chaos over the Kursk front may cause the border troops in the other regions to be lesser or not paying attention. Or it could be like they didn't expect another attack, another vector of attack. So they did try around here, didn't work out. The Ukrainians also tried from another sector over in the Khaki front, over at Bezimeno. The Ukrainian forces attacked Bezimeno from Timofeyevka direction. They have been geolocated right at the border region, but the attack did not work out, as the Russian forces around at Bezimeno seems to be also pretty on the ball. They are also just on the ball. So the Ukrainian forces didn't manage to break through as well. So these two other incursions, if they manage to break through, if the guards are not in sufficient numbers, then if they broke through, then this is going to be one hell of a calamity. The PR disaster right now for the Russians is already quite bad. So if the Ukrainians manage to break through from yet another two vectors, oh my god, this is going to look so bad for the Russians. And maybe the troll quote that the Russian military is the second best army in Russia might become true, but tentatively it doesn't look like the case, because the Ukrainians may be driving all over the place, but they are not getting engaged. They are driving all over the place, but they haven't met the enemy. They haven't really met the Russian military, but then as they drive along, they constantly getting airstrike, helicopter strike, drone strike, Lancet, artillery strikes constantly. And this is taking a toll. There's an attritional aspect to this war. So as much as it looks very cool that the Ukrainians are taking a lot of move, along the way, they are getting attrition away. And the Russian military is nowhere in sight. I'm not sure where the Russians put their main line. Where is the regular forces? I have no idea. And the Ukrainians are just driving everywhere trying to look for them, I guess. I wonder, maybe there's some kind of 4D chess being played on both sides and they're trying to second guess each other. Who knows? So it's very, very interesting watch, the Kursk offensive. So I'm quite sure all these are going to be written into military books in the future, because there's never been such a war or such a modern combat between two sides ever in history, like never in this way. So this is going to go into the military lessons. So on the Khaki front, there is still fighting in this region. Russian forces allegedly attacking Lipsy, Voschansk, and Taike, as well as Voschanski Kotori region. But allegedly, according to information, Ukrainians are also attacking Voschansk. I can go into details. So over in the Voschansk region, based on the Russian information, they claim that the Ukrainian side has reported that the Russians have sent reinforcement into Voschansk as well as the Taike region, which is interesting because we are all thinking that the Russians are having manpower issue to reinforce the Kursk side, because the Kursk, we still haven't seen where the regular army is. but they're sending forces into the VChan region. So allegedly, and Ukrainian forces are, so the line here currently is very static. This is a static line, and the Ukrainians are now using surface drones, land drones, that is packed with a lot of bombs to destroy entire buildings. So this, according to information from the Russian side, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, the Russians are the ones still attacking. So depending on who you want to believe, so this is the situation over at this area here. We move into the Kupiansk front. At the Kupiansk front, at the Sinkivka sector, Russian forces are attacking Sinkivka and Petropavlivka. So that's about it. Further south, over at the Peshchane region, Russian forces are attacking towards Novosenove, Plushkivka, Krylyakivka, in the Beretove region, and in Novoselivsky region and Stemakivka. So this area here is very activated. So it doesn't really affect by the KURSK offensive situation. Based on the Russian mapping, the Russian forces have taken this entire salient. So differing from the Ukrainian mapping, where they insisted that Ukrainian forces are there. So that's it from this area. Over the Svetove front, as mentioned, the Stemakivka, there is fighting over there. There's also fighting being reported at Andriivka. So some updates in terms of the mapping at Nadia, where the Russian mapping have disclaimed this area here. They now say that this is under Ukrainian control, just off Serhievka. So and then we move to the Crimea front. At the Crimea front, the Russian forces are attacking over at Makiivka, Nevsky, Novosadove, Terny, and Torsky. So this is the current situation that is fighting around all this region. Some geolocation of Ukrainian forces getting struck, and one of them actually is under Russian claim territory, which now caused the invalidation of the Russian claim. So now the Ukrainian has a more advanced position in the northeastern part of Nevsky. So and then we move into the at Dibrova, just off Dibrova, there's a Lancet Iskander strike here. So not very important. Over at the Sivers front, the Sivers offensive continues. Shelling reported at Serebryanka, Russian forces attacking Kamyansky and Spurny. So that's about it. Some geolocation of artillery shelling of Ukrainian positions over at Peresny. So pretty much, there's still, not much movement, it seems. Over at the Bakhmut front, there is fighting reported. Mostly in the center part, there's Chasivia and the Bodanivka, Krychorivka region. There is fighting reported at Dilievka, but no. I think there's nothing serious. Over the Krychorivka region is the significant one. Russian forces finally make progress after the capture of Kalinina. It's been a long time since we have seen progress around this area. Russian forces attack into the southern part of Krychorivka. So some people tell me I should not call this Grigorivka. But no. The map here, right, Krychorivka. So I'm just gonna say Krychorivka. So that's it. Just turn off Steam message. So and then that's it from this in the Bakhmut front. There's a geolocation of Krasnopol hitting the Ukrainian forces over at Bilhora. Actually, it's more like Alexandro Shetiny. So that's it. We move into the New York front. At the New York front, Russian forces are attacking at Pivnishne towards Torex, Zalizne, New York, Shukabalka. This is something new, and Pentamelanivka. So there's not much updates due to the yesterday's big intel drop. So we don't have much new stuff. Shukabalka is new. We have never seen this fighting being reported in this area, which means that the Russians are now making this push on top of the fighting over at Petamelanivka. So it's something new. And over at the Pivnishne, I missed out this. Someone told me that I've missed out the update at Pivnishne. I didn't see this in any other sources. I didn't see geolocations. So apparently it's in a previous Deep State UA report, which I missed the Pivnishne update. And I didn't see it in the mapping. So I only saw it like today. So the Russian forces in the Ukrainian mapping has advanced down the highway towards the high-rise zone. So there's a high-rise zone around here. So, but no, this is still some distance. The gray zone extends in this way. But yeah, I didn't see the geolocation, so I'm not going to jump ahead of myself. So the fighting is thorax at thorax. Yeah, this is what it is. So that's all. We move into the Avdiivka front. In the northern flank of the Avdiivka front, we have Russians attacking Kalinove towards Zelenipole, over at Timofeyevka region towards Yelizavetivka, and the Russian Defense Ministry announced the capture of Lysychny. But we do not have any mapping to show us how this capture looks like. So I do not want to map it in yet. So we're just going to wait for the mappings from the core sources. Over at the Pokro sector, Russian forces are attacking in the area of Ivanivka. They still have not fully captured it yet. Geolocation of Russian forces in this western part of Ivanivka, confirming Russian presence. Russian forces geolocated at the outskirts of Khorivka. Ukrainian forces getting struck also at the outskirts of Khorivka. So clearly show that's where the front line is, with the battle fighting towards Khorivka is happening. Fighting is reported in the area of Sahievka towards Mykolaievka, at Zeleny towards Novozeleny. So this front line here continues to be very activated. This is still, to me, the main offensive push. But New York front, of course, is getting very fierce as the Ukrainian forces seems to have redrawn from their defensive line. So the Russians going to have some big captures around there very soon. Ukrainian forces geolocated here, just within the Russian controlled line, but it was a destroyed tank. So that's why I'm not going to change the front line for this. So that's it from this Pokrov direction, from Pokrov sector of the Avdiivka front. Pokrov is here, by the way. The distance from the front line is merely 15 kilometers, not exactly far. So we move into the southern flank. And the southern flank, there is interesting information. There is fighting reported at Pitishne, and Pitishe. So and okay, so I have something to say about this. So fighting at Pitishe, Kushne, Yasnobrodivka, and Khalivka, and this one is weird because how did the Russians reach here? This is reported by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, by the way. So, which means that there's a chance that Kishshifka has been taken by the Russian forces. So, for them to reach Pitishe, for them to fight in this area, they have to capture Kishshifka. That will only make sense, right? So, and because they're already still fighting at Novozeleny, they haven't break through there. So, I suspect that this is the Ukrainian Defense Ministry's quiet way of telling us that Kishshifka has fallen to the Russians. This is what I feel. But we shall see, when the next update will tell us and see what they say. So many disturbance, man. Got Steam and then WhatsApp. Yeah. Okay, so we move on. Sorry for my itchy nose. I don't know why today's my nose so itchy. Haven't had itchy nose for a long time. So we move into this Marinka sector. So the battle at Krasnohorivka continues. Fighting report at Georgievka, at Paraskoviyevka, and the battle of Konstantinivka continues. And at the battle of Konstantinivka, Russian forces continues to make progress in the eastern part of Konstantinivka. They continue to advance, and they have now captured coming to a third of the settlement. So the Ukrainians clearly is struggling to hold the line. They are defending for sure, but it seems like they are struggling. This seems to be the case. And we move further south towards Vodian. Fighting is reported in the direction of Vodian and in the Voleda region. So let's see how this goes. Very interesting to see the Voleda fighting being reported so often recently. So let's see how this develops. There is fighting reported at Preshestivka, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. Probably just shelling. I think just some fire attack, nothing very serious. So that's it. There's nothing at the Velika Novosilka sector. It looks like the Russians are pretty happy with the current line. No, so they are not doing anything there. We move into the Zaporizhia front. At the Zaporizhia front, there is a lot of actions around this Kayamsky Orekiv sector. So and this area here, the Russian forces are attacking at Malatomashka, Novodanilivka, towards Novoandrievka in the Nesteryanka region, and Khaki. And this is a bit too many arrows for 24 hours. So we definitely have to keep a lookout for this, because I had been anticipating some kind of offensive at this region here since the regrouping, the change of duties, where the Dnieper group of forces is now only in charge of like 2 sectors along this main Zaporizhia front. So, which is why I'm kind of anticipating something big gonna happen here. So moving on, over at the Kherson front, there is fighting reported in the Pridniprovsky direction. So the Ukrainian defense ministry claimed the Russians are still trying to attack in this direction, but otherwise that's all from this line. And there is a geolocation of a Ukrainian flag over on the Kimben Spit, but the Ukrainians are not here. The operation have pretty much failed. The operation is just them coming in, plant a flag, and then get destroyed, and then the rest run away. Yeah, that's the operation. So that's all we have over here. And yes, we finally finished the SITREP. So anyway, yes, this is the summary for the day of 901 for the 12th of August. Press the like button, subscribe. Thank you for watching. It's been a long report. You are great at following all the way to the end. My salute to you, and I'll see you guys in the next update.